I've been working outside today, cleaning up the garden. We have fall things growing. We've got turnips and radishes and lettuce and kale and beets. But all of our summer stuff is bit the dust. There's a little bit of okra still left. Oh, and my Malabar spinach is still going strong. I don't know what'll stop that stuff. I think just a hard frost will probably be what stops it. But we've not had a hard frost yet. Anyway, I've been out and about doing that. As longtime gardeners, we've been married 26 years, so I guess for 26 years, and before that I helped Pap and Granny in their garden. Anyway, we used to save our seeds. We would save bean seeds and tomato seeds and just whatever, we were conscious of that you needed to do that. Well, in the last 10 years, So True Seeds started sponsoring my garden for the Blind Pig and the Acorn. I would write about their seeds and they would give me the seeds in exchange. So I kind of got out of the habit of trying to save seeds and just didn't worry about it, because I knew I had a ready supply. Well, they don't sponsor my garden anymore. They've not, I guess it's been 2 summers ago that they quit. Anyway, this past spring, if you were a gardener, you probably heard about, or maybe you experienced it, but there was a seed shortage. Because of the pandemic, so many people began to garden that seed companies were just swamped with orders, and so there were so many things that was sold out. That didn't affect us, because I usually do my seed shopping in the winter, so like by January, the latest early February, I already have all our seeds, what we're going to plant, and everything's in order, and we know where we're at, what we're going to do. So I didn't have to worry about that shortage this spring. But through the summer, I noticed I continued to hear people talk about it. So I don't know, I'm not sure what it's going to be like this time next year. And I still have bought seeds when I seen them, and when I found what I wanted, those kind of things. And I don't know about you, but I rarely use an entire pack of seeds. There's so many in it. So some of my seeds carry from year to year, and seeds don't go bad. If you didn't know that, you can still use them. Anyway, this year, as I gardened, I thought about that seed shortage, and thought, well, maybe it's time for me to start saving seeds again like I used to do. So I still didn't save everything, but I have saved pumpkin seeds and squash seeds, cucumber seeds, and on my porch I have drying. First time ever I tried to save radish seeds, so I let those go to seed, and I'm going to try that out. And then I also let my lettuce go to seed, just 1 or 2 plants, and I'm going to try that out. And then I have have a lot of our beans. The last part of the beans, these are greasy back beans, I saved them. So today I thought this would be a good time for me to start trying to get the seeds out. So there, you can see, there's some of the ones. Those are the bean seeds. I've been letting those dry for I don't know, several weeks. But that's what you do basically for seeds. You let the whatever it is that's growing in it, the pod, let it dry out, and then you get the seeds out of it, and then you put them in a safe, dry place, and then you'll have them for next year. Tomato seeds and squash seeds and watermelon seeds, all those kind of things are different because they're so wet. So you have to kind of soak them in water and then kind of spread them out and then let them dry after that, after you get the little membrane stuff over them. I've planted tomatoes in the past where I laid them out on the paper towel and let them dry. They actually stuck to the paper towel, and instead of just trying to get every little seed off because I was in a hurry, I just folded up the paper towel and put it away till next year when I would need it. And then when I get ready to start my tomatoes in the greenhouse, I would just almost have to just plant a piece of paper towel with the little tomato seed. They still grew fine. That was fine. So saving seeds is not as hard as a lot of people might make you think it is. There are some things, of course, tips and tricks that help. I remember the first year that I saved tomato plants, I didn't think about, the possibility of cross-pollination. And one of my blind pig readers said, "Hey, but aren't you afraid that they might?" And I was like, "What?" So I, of course, did a Google and learned more about it. And then I was like, "Oh my gosh, why did you tell me that? Now I'm going to be paranoid about cross-pollination." But and that can happen especially with tomatoes and with peppers. But so people that actually grow the tomatoes and then sell the seeds like commercially, they have to make sure they're so far apart so that there is no cross-pollination, because you might end up with a different kind of tomato. It might still be edible, it just won't be what you were expecting. It's funny, this year I planted I don't know, gosh, probably 10 years ago or something like that, I bought a little plant at a local store here. It used to be Christian Love, and now it's Renewed Hope Ministries, but they had a greenhouse, and they had a lot of heirloom tomatoes and different things in there. And it was called Cream and Sausage. It's a tomato about that big, and it's yellow, kind of Roma shaped. It's the best little tomato. And I saved those seeds, and we grew them. One of my friends called them Dolly Parton tomatoes. I shared them with him. He really liked them. Anyway, so this year I found some of those seeds. I thought I'd finally let them get away from me, and I thought, oh gosh, Matt, I found some of the cream and sausage. We'll plant those this year. Well, we did, but somehow in our greenhouse only one plant actually lived. I actually made it. So still, I thought one plant would be enough for me to get back my seed, make sure that I have it and keep it this time. And it grew all summer, and I kept watching it. Well, then the first tomato, I thought, they don't really look like this is what it's supposed to be. And then it was a week or so before I looked at it again, remembered to check it, and it was a big pretty red tomato. It was more like a Brandywine. It totally was not cream and sausage. Not only was it not yellow, it wasn't the right shape, nothing. So either I saved the wrong seeds, which is totally possible, or that was like an example of where something cross-pollinated. And I did used to grow Brandywines a lot. I don't grow them now, but that's exactly what it looked like, was like a big Brandywine, a reddish, pinkish Brandywine. Anyway, so today that's what I'm going to be doing, is getting my seeds out so that I can put them up safely indoors before Old Man Winter comes knocking. It doesn't feel like winter though today and this whole week. It's been cool in the mornings, but the heat during the days really got up in the heat, and I think next week it may be back even in the 80s. So I'm ready for Old Man Winter or Jack Frost to come, but so far they're staying away. Oh, and another thing was, this year I let some of my okra, and let's open it. So this is Gene Orange okra. That's and you notice I say okra, I don't say okra. That's my Appalachian accent there coming out. This is my favorite okra to grow. I got it from So True Seed, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and I've been growing it ever since. It's red, it's one of the red varieties, and it seems like it stays tender longer, like if you're like me and you forget to go check your okra for a day or two, and you end up with pods usually that you can't even cut with a knife. Well, this one, it seems like it stays tender as it gets larger. Of course, you should still, the smaller it is, the more tender it's going to be. Anyway, but this year I thought I'd try to save some of the seeds from it just in case. And you can see this will be easy to get, it looks like. When Granny was able, it's been a long time now, she's too feeble, but she would, of course, she had her own garden, but she knew my tendency to not always check my okra sometimes, especially if I was busy. Oops, I've got seeds going everywhere. And so one day she come up here, walked up to the house to check, and of course my okra needed to be cut. I was at work. And then when I come home that evening, she called me and said, "Did you notice your okra's gone?" I said, "Well, no, I haven't been outside." And she said, "Well, I come and cut it because it needed cutting." And I just thought that was funny. She's like, "You need this." She said, "I'll share it with you." I was like, "No, you just keep it." Anyway, Granny's, I miss the days when she was still able to garden. She's been putting up black walnuts the last 2 weeks. She has one tree in her yard that produces, and she's just so tickled to death that it's this year. She's probably got maybe like a 5-gallon bucket full of walnuts, and she doesn't wait for them like a lot of people do, wait for the hull to get mushy and then take it off from there. She goes ahead and takes it off when it's green, because she says she doesn't like that all that, the stain, the blackness when it gets mushy like that, how messy they can be. So she goes ahead and gets them off when they're green, and then she'll set them in front of her heater to dry, and then she'll crack them out. But she's probably, I don't know, cracked out maybe 2 quarts worth of walnuts already. She toasts them just slightly in the oven before she puts them up to store. But she's just been tickled to death over that. She can't really go out by herself anymore. The other day I was down there and she asked me if I would go check. I said, "Yeah, I'll run down there." She said, "I want to go with you." And I said, No, I won't. I should have realized she just wanted to get outside. And so finally I said, okay. So she got her big walking stick, and I held on to her. The tree's like down her driveway, so we had to walk just a little bit. And so she stood there and pointed out walnuts while I was looking for them. And I was surprised. I got 2 like grocery bags full for her that day. And Paul he'd been picking them up every day, so he'd already got her a bunch. But she's so excited. It's funny because she can't get out good by herself anymore, and we don't like for her to, because if she was to fall, with nobody there, she does have like a life alert, but just in case, we still don't like for her to. Let's see, was it last summer she fell and broke her arm? Me and Matt were there, though. We were actually working in her garden with her, and she fell. But luckily we were there, so we could get her up and then all that. But anyway, and luckily it was just her arm, which that was bad enough, but it was a clean break and just a cast, and it was okay after that. Anyway, but the other day she was wanting Paul to take her to check her beans so that she could save. She grows cornfield beans, and she saves the seed every year and grows and replants them. She just likes cornfield beans. Anyway, Paul helped her go out there, and then he picked the dried beans, but he tickled me. She told Paul, I feel like I got to go on a field trip today. She got to go outside, which is really sweet. Anyway, so you can see out of that 1 pot of okra how many seeds I got. So that's quite a bit out of 1 pot, and I have another 1 or 2 out there drying, so that's good for that. So I hope you'll leave a comment and tell me, do you save seeds, or did your parents or your grandparents or somebody? And if you're a gardener, did you have trouble finding seeds this summer, or are you worried about finding them next summer? I hope you'll share this video with your friends and neighbors. I hope you'll subscribe to my channel, but mostly I just hope you'll drop back by often as I celebrate Appalachia.